What is going on, guys? This is Prodigy, and today we're actually going to be doing a movie review for Fate of the Furious, or Fast and the Furious 8, whatever you want to call it. So I just went and saw the movie this past weekend, and I've really been thinking a lot about it, and I've been seeing a lot of people talking about it, and so I kind of just wanted to sit down on a video and just give you guys my thoughts on the movie and just do a review if you guys haven't seen it or if you guys have been thinking about seeing it. Go over some, basically just what I think of the movie and what I would give it as far as a rating goes. Now, just a heads up, there is going to be spoilers in the film, so if you don't want anything to be spoiled, unfortunately, that is going to be in this video, so you may just have to click off here. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So starting off with just the general plot of the film, it starts off in Havana, Cuba, with Dom and Letty, and they're kind of just living a simple life, not doing too much, still kind of in the street racing scene in Cuba. Dom's younger cousin is getting into some trouble when the movie starts, and he kind of saves the day, races the guy, and then gains their respect. Everybody feels good, it's all good. But the problem comes into play when this super cyber hacker chick named Cypher, it has basically been tracking Dom and has gained some leverage on Dom and basically forces him to turn on his crew and his family and do what she wants. And so you don't know what it is that she has on him at first, so it kind of keeps you wondering, what this could be. But basically, Dom turns on the crew. He's going after some nukes and some launch codes that Cypher wants him to get for her. And it's basically everything you've seen in the past movies, where except instead of fighting the bad guys, he's fighting his own crew. And you find out that the reason that, or what Cypher has against him, and the reason that he's turned against him is because she actually has Elena and Dom's son, who we find out had a baby by Elena. She has them hostage, and she's threatening to kill them, basically. Now, if you guys haven't seen the previous movies, Elena was the partner of The Rock, which was Hobbs' character. And when everyone thought Letty was dead, Dom and Elena were kind of, together, and I guess they had a baby, but Dom didn't know about the baby. But Cypher somehow found out, kidnapped Elena and the baby, and is holding him hostage and making Dom do whatever she wants. So they're going all over the world. They end up in Russia trying to get launch codes, but eventually Dom, finds a way to get the best of her. Save his child. Unfortunately, Elena does get killed because Dom kind of resists back in New York City to get the launch codes because Letty was about to die, and of course Dom couldn't let that happen. So Cypher does kill Elena because of that. So unfortunately she dies. That was kind of a heartbreaking moment for me because I didn't want to see her die, but hey, it is what it is. But so, towards the end, Dom figures out a way to outsmart her. We have some great action scenes with The Rock, Jason Statham, who was fantastic in the movie. And it was overall a great film. Now, there probably is going to be another film. In fact, I've heard rumors that there's actually going to be 2 more films. Because at the end, when Jason Statham is facing off with Cypher, she does escape out of the plane, and so it kind of hints towards there's probably going to be another movie where they're going to face off once again. Now, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I liked it for what it was. Now, let me just kind of throw this out there as a disclaimer. You kind of have to turn your brain off for this one and throw logic out the window because it's completely utterly ridiculously over the top as far as the action goes, and I'm totally fine with that. But I know a lot of people don't really like that, and they see something that looks super ridiculous, they kind of like, okay, come on now, and it kind of ruins it for them. But I'm totally fine with over the top action. I'm totally fine with it as long as they make it make sense in the movie. So it was completely over the top, but I really, really, really enjoyed the film for what it was. It wasn't perfect. We're going to talk about some pros and cons, but I enjoyed the movie. So, starting off with some pros for the movie. I kind of mentioned this before, but the action scenes and the fighting scenes that were in the movie were absolutely fantastic. It completely does not disappoint. Particularly the jail fighting scene was great. The scene towards the end where Jason Statham is fighting on the plane that Cypher is on, that was great. And yeah, it had really great action scenes throughout the movie, and it was very creative as well. And now I know that kind of sounds strange because some people are like, okay, it kind of looks like they're kind of running out of ideas here, but I actually think they had some creative things going on here. For example, the scene where they had the zombie cars rolling through the streets of New York. And it was really a great scene too, and the special effects in that were amazing. But I thought that was really a creative and interesting idea because that's it's not something I saw coming, and so I definitely give them props for that, and the fact that there was a lot of unexpected twists, like when you found out Dom had a baby, because it had to be something with his family. That had to be the only reason he would turn against his crew, and Letty particularly. So you knew it had to be something, but I did not expect him to have a baby with Elena, and that would be the reason that Cypher is basically has leverage on him. And it was kind of funny because Dom and Letty were kind of hinting towards wanting a baby at the beginning of the film. So it was kind of I definitely did not see that coming. And I thought it was good, and I thought it was much more believable as to why he would turn against his family in that sense. So definitely props to them for that. And it kind of left you wondering, constantly, how are you going to get out of this? Because obviously we know at the end they're going to prevail. We know Dom's somehow going to get out of it. But at times it kind of left you wondering and doubting, like, okay, this is a pretty tough situation. How exactly are you going to get your way out of this one? Because and it definitely did not disappoint with that. It definitely left me more than satisfied with my purchase. So aside from that, though, it was great chemistry between the actors. The acting was great in my opinion. Particularly between Dom and Letty, because you really feel the chemistry between them. Like, you get the feeling that they could actually be together in real life. It was really enjoyable to watch, and definitely, when you've been doing movies for so long, I guess you can't help but develop some sort of chemistry. But it was definitely felt in the movie, and I enjoyed it a lot because of that. It was very immersive. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat. And the comic relief in the film, particularly from Roman, which is Tyrese's character, and a little bit from Ludacris as well. Everybody has a little bit of comic relief, but it's particularly from Roman. It was definitely great in the film. I laughed a lot during the film. It didn't feel too over the top, like they were trying too hard. It felt a little bit natural. I just laughed. It was just funny. So that made it overall a pretty enjoyable experience, and why I would recommend going to see this movie. But talking about some things that I quite didn't like, there were no real cons for me, but a couple of things that I would like to point out that I think could have been done better. There were some cheesy lines in the movie. Now, you can't have an action movie without some cheesy lines in there. Okay, we get it, but it's just worth pointing out, there was a couple of cheesy lines in there that were kind of just like, okay, yeah, whatever. But, it definitely didn't ruin any of the experience. Definitely didn't ruin any of the immersion. It was just kind of like, cheesy funny. That was just made you say, like, really? Okay, come on now. But like I said, it's not a real con, but, just I'm nitpicking at this point, just trying to find something that they could have done better. Another con that I'm going to point out that wasn't particularly a con for me, but a lot of people have pointed it out as a con, which for reasons I can definitely understand, But the fact that the franchise has strayed pretty far away from just pure street racing. Now, again, I personally didn't necessarily see that as an issue because of the previous films, the direction that they were going. I feel like this kind of made a graduation as they were getting older and doing more things from as opposed to just street racing. But I can understand why a lot of people would be disappointed by that because, that's was the core of the franchise when it first came out, street racing. And that's why they fell in love with the series. So I can understand you being disappointed about that, which is why I mentioned it here. But for me personally, it wasn't really a con because it was still a great movie and delivered in everything that I was looking for. So just wanted to throw that in there for people who I'm sure are going to mention that. But lastly, I think what they could have done better is I wish they took more time to reintroduce Dom back into the crew, because once he eventually does outsmart and get the best of Cypher and gets his son back, it's kind of just like you understand, that they're gonna forgive him and they're gonna let him back in because they realize that he would never really do that unless it was some dire circumstances. But I just wish they took the time to actually, have some type of scene that he kind of explains to them what was going on, what was at stake, why he did what he did. And, of course they're all gonna, understand and forgive him, but it's kind of like they just throw him back in there and we act like it never even happened. So I mean, it didn't ruin the film because, like I said, it's understood that they were going to forgive him. But I just wish that they had some type of scene where they at least acknowledged it. So, but, I mean, like I said, these are little things that I feel like they could have done better. But overall, I still feel like it was a great movie. Oh, one more thing I do want to mention. Towards the end, well, actually at the very end of the movie, they name the baby that Dom finds out is his. They name him Brian, which is obviously a tribute to Paul Walker, who died a couple years back in the making of Furious 7. And so, it's obviously a tribute to him. But one thing I think they could have done better, this isn't a con, this is just like a suggestion, but I think it would have had a lot more of an effect if they had somehow had Brian killed in the movie in like some type of tragic way, and then at the end named him Brian as sort of like a double tribute, like a tribute within the movie, but also as a tribute, to us, the fans, to Paul Walker. So, kind of be, understood that, because we know Paul Walker is dead going into the movie, and they never really, kill him in the movie. Like, he's technically still alive. They mention him, but they could just kind of say that, we're not going to bring him into this, just kind of like pretending like he's not there. And I don't know if I necessarily like that. I feel like they need to acknowledge it in some way that, he's dead. He's no longer with us. So I think if they would have kind of had him die in some tragic fashion within the movie and then named the baby Brian at the end, it would have served as a nice double tribute, one within the movie and one obviously with us, the fans, to Paul Walker. So just a suggestion, but that's pretty much all my opinions on the movie. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great action movie. I thought it was a great setup into a potential, there's going to be another one. I thought it was a great setup into the storyline for the next film, Furious 9, Fast and the Fate 9, whatever, I don't know what they're going to call it, but whatever the next film is going to be, I think that sets up a potentially good storyline for that future movie. So as a rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10, throwing logic out the window. We're not judging this as an intellectually, in-depth movie. We're judging it as an action movie, which is what it is. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. I would definitely recommend you go see it. It's worth the ticket price. You will not leave the theater disappointed. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate if you guys could leave a like on the video. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up from here, guys. Once again, this is Prodigy. I appreciate you guys watching and listening to me. I'll see y'all later.